Back with Drew. Today, we're just going to discuss the Texans' win over Pittsburgh. Obviously, very fun game. Texans defense dominant as almost always. Texans offense, I thought we'll get into it, I'm sure, but the running game was very, very good. Probably their best running performance all season. Woody Marks ran the ball really well, and then Nick Chubb came in and he ran the ball well. So the Texans were just able to kind of just dominate the line of scrimmage. They used some motion to misalign the Steelers, which we'll talk about. Obviously, a pretty good game from Nick Caley. CJ Stroud, which we'll talk about, very inconsistent day, I'd say. A lot of really, really good moments, which we'll get into on third down. Yeah. He threw the ball really well outside of the turnovers. You can't throw the red zone pick. The second fumble was one that you should have just taken the sack. Flea Flicker, I don't really blame him for, but still definitely some positives from Stroud's game that hopefully you can carry over to New England. And then other positives from the offense. Really, everyone else on the offense, I'd say, was a pretty positive performance. Everyone else played pretty well. Obviously, Nico Collins getting hurt, not ideal, but the Texans, which we'll get into, the Texans can overcome that on offense. They have the receiver talent, and they have, the kind of scheme where they can overcome that, and they've kind of proven that in certain situations. So, Drew, how are you feeling about the game against Pittsburgh, and then how are you feeling about the matchup against Pittsburgh?
I think there's a lot of takeaways that you can make from, the game against the Steelers. I think obviously we know what the defense is. I mean, a lot of people that maybe haven't watched the Texans before are incredibly impressed. Like, wow, this is just suffocating defense, terrifying, physical, all those things. Well, we knew that. That was no surprise whatsoever. And we can look a little bit more into the scheme because that's something we honestly haven't really reviewed too much because, you see dominant defense, but also it's the fact that how they're doing it. They're doing it by literally lining up in cover 4 and running cover 4, lining up in cover 3 and playing cover 3. That usually is not what you're supposed to do in the NFL. And so it actually makes it more impressive that they're playing so well. But on the offense side of the ball, I agree. Great game called by Nick Caley. But also, shout out to the Texans' offensive line. Yeah. That was probably the most push that I'd seen from the Texans' offensive line in, I don't know, years.
Long time.
In a playoff game? Are you kidding me? The fact that they ran the ball like that, I really couldn't believe it. Honestly, that was the most impressive part of the entire game. And then, obviously, I think it's kind of a good thing that CJ Stroud had his, moments, if you will, because you can't say he had the worst game ever when statistically it was okay, and he made some big-time throws, too. So the fact that you can have those turnovers or, fumbles, too, that he did some recover as well. The fact that you can have that, you can learn from it, and there's no way that's happening again. There's no way that's happening again. And then also for the Nico Collins injuries, I'm on the same page as you. And I think this has even kind of been noted from the really recency as well.
Yeah.
When Nico Collins doesn't play, the Texans spread the ball out. And that creates a lot of different issues for defenses because their wide receiver room is so versatile and, frankly, it could even be even more explosive because that does mean you're getting Jalen Noel on the field more. Higgins deserves more targets, more snaps.
He does, yeah.
Hutchinson looks extremely talented, explosive with the ball in his hands as well. And Christian Kirk was separating at a high level against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's 4 receivers, not naming Nico Collins, that can get the job done. And I think, honestly, Stroud plays a little bit better, a little bit more efficient when Nico Collins isn't in the game. That's just something I seem to have noticed.
Yeah, I mean, the Niners game, perfect example, and then you get the Colts game. Jaden Higgins, I think is going to be more involved. He actually I want to say, most of the 2 games that Nico Collins hasn't played, he has a touchdown in this season. So you have that. I think he'll be an impact, and obviously Christian Kirk, if he could play anywhere near how he played in this last Pittsburgh game, he can put the offense on his back in certain situations. But like you said. It's impressive statistically that, you look at EPA and stuff like that Stroud was pretty average even with the turnovers because he played so well outside of the turnovers. I want to say his EPA per play was higher than the guys like Trevor Lawrence and higher than some of these other quarterbacks that played. I think Drake May also that played in this wild card round because he was so good outside of the turnovers. And really some of the turnovers were just goofy. It wasn't I didn't really know how to explain it. It was just kind of goofy. And that seems like that's kind of the way that it goes when you play Pittsburgh. Goofy things happen when you play Mike Tomlin Pittsburgh. I don't know why. It's very unexplainable. how many times have we seen a game in Pittsburgh where it's like Lamar Jackson or one of these guys where a fumble just somehow lands in TJ Watt's arms? Like, it shouldn't happen, but it does. And so we've seen this happen countless times. I don't think the fumbling is going to be an issue. The main issue that I had with the CJ Stroud performance was the red zone interception. You can't throw the red zone pick there. That can't happen. You cannot cost your team points in that situation. But the fumbles, I think they'll move past. But if you can, it was one of his most on target games. It was one of his highest catchable ball rate. Like, he was putting the ball in places where receivers could make plays. We talk about a Jalen Noel, the deep ball that, he didn't end up coming up with. That was a shot that, not a perfect throw, but a good enough throw to go make a play down the field. Sure. Especially with, Titus Howard getting pushed back into Stroud. He did a good job at least letting Noel, be able to go up and make a play on the ball. And then, we talked about, I tweeted about it, like the one in Nico Collins in the fourth, or no, not in the fourth, the second quarter, right before halftime, wasn't a perfect throw, but also is a throw that, Nico Collins probably could have caught. So it's just, there was just some plays that were left on the field for the Texans. But overall, if Stroud can kind of cut down these turnovers, and really the turnovers have not been an issue for him this season. We've talked about that. Like, he's well taking care of the football. So I'm not overly concerned about the turnovers at all. Just take care of the football better than you did in this last game and grow on some of the stuff you did throwing the football. And I think his pocket movement overall was pretty good. He did a good job moving around outside of some of the fumble stuff. I think there was a couple ones where he moved a little goofy in the pocket, but overall it was pretty good. He was able to, the Christian Kirk, both of the Christian Kirk deep balls was really good pocket movement. He stepped up and just ripped the football down the field. So definitely some good things from the Stroud game, obviously some bad things, but overall, I'm not overly concerned about his play. I still think I think people kind of overreacted to it, which I'm sure we'll talk about. Like, I think people were like, "Oh, this is one of the worst quarterback performances in the playoffs ever," and I'm like, I don't know if it's even the worst It's not even bottom
of the
three.
league. Yeah. I think it was just weird. I guess now everything's coming back to me. My issue is that when you're a quarterback that is as talented as CJ Stroud, and frankly, we love his pocket mechanics at times. We love it. But then he gets into these weird funks where his footwork gets all screwed up and he does weird things. And I don't know why it keeps happening. And it comes after strings of really clean games, clean game after clean game. And all of a sudden he's hitching. And I don't understand where it's coming from because he wasn't taught that and he knows not to do that. And all of a sudden he starts doing it again. He probably ran into about 2 sacks and obviously didn't move the pocket very well when he made that interception. Didn't set his feet when he was trying to make that off-script play because Hutchinson, I believe, was wide open.
Yeah, he was open, yeah.
He didn't even have to lead him into space. And it just looked like he had a noodle arm because he didn't set his feet. And when things like that happens, it obviously gives the media and the fans a reason to criticize him. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that's going to happen again or something that we're going to see at least on a consistent basis because it's not something that's happened on a consistent basis, but it is something that has happened before, and we've been asking for that to be solved, but it just can't consistently be like that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I thought the Hutchinson one, he was kind of late on it as well. He threw it way too late, so he probably should have just run on that one. Probably should have just taken the yardage you could because he kind of moved in the pocket. He moved up. And then it was late to throw the football. So it just was he just tried to force that football at that point. Like you said, he was open earlier, but you really maybe didn't have the window to throw that football until later. And then by the time you threw it, there just wasn't enough window. And then the ball was 5 yards behind him. So that didn't help for sure. But I still think there was mostly good pocket movement, but there was just some plays where it was just too choppy or too panicked, and maybe it had to do with I think there was a couple where even the ball didn't hit the ground, but he bobbled the snap, and then it was just almost like as he was just sped up in certain situations. So it was just a lot going on.
The momentum at times, and that's why the game was so close for a little while. Just the Texans defense was probably never concerned. They played with absolutely no fear of the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's just a matter of the fact that the game is 1 point tied, 4 points, whatever it may be. And so that can be a little nerve-wracking. However, I expect that and now we can finally talk about the Patriots game. I do expect the game to be close. I do expect it to be a one possession game. Have it be the Texans win or the Patriots win. I don't think either team is going to blow either team out. If any team were to blow a team out, it would be the Texans because they did that last year. Not against a similar roster, but somewhat similar roster, and the Texans also have a better roster this year. In my opinion, I think that's fair to say. Maybe
I would agree. I would agree with you. Yeah,
so,
defense is better for sure, and then
yes,
and then offensively, it's pretty similar. I would say the offensive talent might not be better, but they play better as a unit. So.
More efficient, no doubt about it.
For sure. Like we've talked about. I mean, every guy that was on the roster last year, I'd say has been better this year. Maybe outside of Nico Collins. I think Nico was probably better last season.
Just player development at this rate.
Yeah, like Stroud's been better. Tytus Howard's been better. Dalton Schultz has been much better.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, every guy.
And then you add Ursary and stuff like that. New center.
And then
that stuff really matters.
Incredible. Ed Ingram's been just awesome.
Yes, Ed Ingram has been at least the top 10 at his position. I know at one point his pass protection looked a little weak, but and we're talking about run blockers. You don't really see a guy with that much juice to be able to, attack and then load up again and attack again and play with that much speed and physicality to where you instantly overwhelm an interior defensive lineman because he's just quicker and he's more athletic. And he just looks to be playing right. And it seems like he was always a guy that the Texans wanted because they knew what they had in the athlete and they wanted to coach that player into an elite run blocker, and they did just that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the best value moves that Nick Caserio has made in his entire GMing, stint in Houston is that move, and you could say Trent Brown's another one. Just the fact that this line is assembled with, outside of Ursary and Tytus Howard, guys that you picked up off of waivers and traded for a 6th-round pick, and it's impressive how well they've played. Obviously, you're still going to go into the offseason and. Once we get to the offseason,
you got older guys, you got to kind of start.
Definitely going to still have to address the offensive line, but the improvement in 1 year is pretty outstanding from what they had, and they traded their best player in the offseason as well. So, what they've done on offenses in that offensive line room, I mean, credit to Cole Popovich. He's been awesome for this team, and then Nick Caley as well has helped out the offensive line in certain situations. So and so has CJ Stroud, not holding on to the football as long in certain situations. He's helped the line out. So just as a whole, much better execution from that group, and they've played much, much better football this year than they did last year, obviously.
Yeah, you simply just love to see it.
Yep. All right, let's go ahead and get into some of the. All right, let me log in first, and then we'll go ahead and get into some of the film. We can watch. Obviously, we'll watch some of the offense. Probably mostly offense still. We really don't need to see that much of the defense, but we will. We can look at some of the coverage stuff and stuff that what people have been talking about lately. Right, just lace them up and just go beat the hell out of the offense.
You're just better.
Yeah, we're just flat out better. Your offense, and they can do that against pretty much every offense in the NFL. So
yeah. Ironically, people were talking good about the Patriots' offensive line. They just didn't look very good against the Chargers, and that has me feeling pretty good about what the Texans can do against them because they want to rush forward. They don't want to have to blitz, but it seems like they're going to be able to just rush forward. And I know maybe
the Patriots' offensive line is not very good. You go look at the defenses that they've played, and it makes sense why people started guessing their offensive line because I hate to bring up the schedule thing, but that schedule is really, really awful. Like they played nobody, which is pretty crazy. So, all right, let's go ahead and get this up. All right, awesome. And then, we can start. What should we start with? Do you want to just do like the third down offense?
Yeah,
we can start with.
Good.
Okay. Let's do that.
Third down offense, we can probably look at some of the bigger carries of the game by the running backs. Just because honestly, I think that's more of a push thing. I mean, I kind of like Woody Marks' running style, but he is a wonky runner, and at times you can maybe see where you miss a guy like Joe Mixon. But I still like Woody Marks a lot.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I actually kind of will say I kind of like the fact that Nick Chubb has kind of been the third down back.
Yes, that's what we
Like,
thought it was going to be.
I never understood the Dart thing. If you want to have a guy that can go catch out of the backfield, make it Woody Marks, and then if you want a guy that can block, go make it Chubb. So in certain situations, I'm completely cool with Nick Chubb being the third down back.
Yes.
And at least with Nick Chubb in the game on a 3rd and 3 or a 3rd and 2, you have the idea that okay, maybe they could run the football with Chubb in
Yes,
the game.
somewhat so.
So glad that they went this route. Beautiful throw, beautiful catch.
Yeah.
Awesome way to start the game. Again, this is an example of the good pocket movement that we were kind of talking about. It was perfect.
You can't say he had the worst game ever when he does stuff like that. So
yeah. I mean, I talked about. I actually think he was probably better in this game than he played in the Chargers playoff game last year.
Oh, for sure. So. That was really bad. I remember being
that was a bad game.
Very upset.
The difference was people didn't catch the interceptable passes outside of the one, so that made the big difference here. I think Stroud had 4 turnover-worthy plays in this game, and 2 of them were the fumbles, the pick, and then another one was another fumble. So really, it was pretty close to 3.
Yeah.
And then you had the fun. So it was just a wonky game as a whole. Very. But I don't really think there's too much to be overly concerned about.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, this was an awesome way to start the game for the offense. And they really kind of kept us up for most of the game. The offense was pretty good.
So efficient.
Outside of the issues that, Stroud had, which I like I said, I think will be cleaned up for New England. I'm not overly concerned about him.
Yeah, I mean, these are just kind of the things you don't want to see.
Yeah. Trent Brown was going early pretty much the whole game. So
yeah, that's another thing. That's actually not a noise thing. That's just Trent Brown trying to cheat at the end of the day. So
yeah, he did this the entire game. I'm not honestly.
Yeah,
he did a lot, kind of cheating the whole game, which I kind of understand. He's not the quickest guy, so you got to if you're trying to get TJ Watt or some of these guys speed rushing you, kind of understand it. So,
agreed.
And this was a good blitz by Pittsburgh. I
mean, I don't love the pocket movement. We'll look a little bit.
Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, this one was.
I feel like he's just kind of rushing it, as where if you just kind of pivot, you can probably strike one in. First, gonna look at Higgins here. Okay, not Higgins necessarily, but
Nico probably would have been a throw here if you could have thrown it
exactly
early. I mean, it's. I mean, I guess it's
timing wise, that's tough.
Yeah. I mean, pretty creative blitz, but like you said, not the best pocket movement either.
No.
I was honestly expecting a screen on. Well, it was 3rd and 13. I told my dad at the game, I'm like, they're throwing a screen here, and they didn't. So there you go. This was, I mean, 3rd and 1. I was very nervous at the 3rd and 1.
Yeah, no.
I never was confident about it.
That used to never work.
Yeah, but they've actually been able to pick it up a little bit more lately.
I would say you can really see a big. I know it didn't really maybe not matter, but there's a huge push on the right side.
Yeah, Blake Fisher actually pushes Patrick Queen like 5 yards upfield. He gets them, and
that's why I love this jumbo package, because I'm really not confident that Schultz can do that. I'm not confident that Stover can do that, because there have been too many times that they whiff at the point of attack and they don't stay balanced and they just kind of lunge and duck their head. And Blake Fisher is just simply bigger and doesn't have to lunge and reach, and he's just there and can use his natural strength.
Yep. This was a play right before the flea flicker. So I mean, this is a big pickup here on a 3rd down. Good. He throws this pretty early too. Good anticipation here. You're ripping the ball into the space.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I mean about Hutchinson, just looking like a very polished player now. There used to be times where he would waste movement, but that's just really smooth, and you can see the quickness at the top of the route. Like, that's burst. That's what you're kind of looking for there.
You have Dalton Schultz running his classic route of just running into a DB and then just pushing him out of the way.
Oh God, yeah, literally. Wonder if they would have called that if they threw it to him.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, that'd have been interesting. But yeah, I mean, good throw here. This was one of the more interesting games because this was actually a game where, when people talk about like Stroud struggling under pressure in certain situations, this was probably the game that if you wanted to like put it on like show someone how the example of it, this probably would be the game just because the numbers wise, like he was the second best quarterback. He had a 91 pass grade when he was kept clean for this game, so he was unbelievable. When he was clean, but then you have the fumbles, and I didn't think he was overall that bad against pressure, but the fumbles and the pick were both against, or actually the pick was, I don't think the pick was under pressure, actually.
Yeah, not necessarily under pressure.
But you fumbled 4 times when you were pressured, so that doesn't help that out at all.
It's just strange. But I like when you can have a quarterback that can make a throw like that because that's not always the most comfortable throwing angle. And so to be able to call a play like that on third down is huge because then you kind of keep the defense guessing. Are you going to do sprint out? Are you going to do motion? Are you going to run it to the boundary? Are you going to run it to the middle of the field? So it's nice they can open the playbook there.
Yeah. This one, this was kind of a weird throw too. He almost like slipped on the throw, which was kind of weird. This pocket movement was pretty solid. But he's trying to slide forward and he like tripped or something. I don't know what that was.
Yes, definitely messed up the amount of power that he can generate on that throw.
I will say,
like he's clean, super clean.
Yeah.
I
will say, this wasn't like a thing that like I noticed this kind of early. There was a lot of guys like slipping or tripping on the field, so he wasn't the only one because even in warmups, I pointed out to my dad because I thought it was funny. They were running like the warm up 7-on-7 essentially, and Schultz literally just like totally fell. Like, he like fell. I mean, honestly, I was worried at first he got hurt. He went down like he like tore something. It was bad. Like he like went down hard, and I was like, oh my God. And he was literally just running like a stop route, and he just like totally ate it. So he wasn't the only guy. It was like I said, it was really cold, and it had kind of snowed the day before, or kind of had rain and stuff. So I get maybe it was
just fair, yeah.
He kind of just trips. So like I said, the pocket movement was fine. Just kind of short armed it. No, and this one, yeah. I wasn't the biggest fan of this, like with a minute left in the half, honestly, but I mean,
I agree. I think they were a little nervous that they couldn't get it passing.
Yeah, I get that, but I wasn't the biggest fan of running that on third and 1 with a minute left in the half. And I mean, that's just an easy conversion. Good job by Kirk just finding the opening there and just sitting down. We've kind of talked about that. He's pretty good at that.
No doubt.
And then, yeah, this is like right before half. They just punted after this, but I mean,
yeah, obviously, not getting anything past.
And then here you go. Here's your red zone interception. This is a killer, man. You can't have this in this type of game. This is like I said, this is a turnover that really kind of bothered me. And like you said, he's open here. You just kind of, I don't really know why the pocket movement until he throws it is okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to go to the sideline for that one for a second.
Yeah.
It's never something that anybody, any level of quarterback or football should be doing with their base. And that's why he was trending on Twitter at one point. I don't know if you were checking just Twitter.
I was, but I was really cold, so I was trying not to check my phone as much.
Yeah.
That was cold.
People were upset, to say the least. Between fumbles and just why he threw the ball that way was such contort for no reason.
Yeah.
It was very questionable. I don't know if you can do a freeze frame of when he releases that ball, but it's a sight to behold, frankly. And also the fact that his feet, just like, why is he moving his feet that much?
Yeah. He has plays where he does that. It's kind of, he moves really awkwardly sometimes. I don't know why. Because I don't really think he's like panicked. He just moves weird in certain situations. So yeah. He didn't have to do that.
No way. Look at all the space.
Yeah. And like I told you, I think in this situation, like the weird part was I think he was almost like he saw it he saw it last second. He's like, oh, I gotta get it there before like the
Yeah.
window closes. But then it's like you're not even close. So
No.
I don't know why in the situation, like, I guess TJ Watt, maybe if you try to run outside, could go chase you down. But I would have
really
tried
feel like you could have ran it.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, mistake, like you said, I'm not going to be overly critical about a mistake because they happen at the end of the day. We've seen plenty of. I mean, I'm telling you, I watched that Patriots and Chargers game when I got to Pittsburgh, and both quarterbacks were like, "Oh my God, this is bad." So
Agreed.
It wasn't the best quarterback play across the NFL in this wild card week, I'd say.
Yeah.
So I'm not, like I said, I'm not overly concerned about Stroud. It happens, but I would say definitely needs to clean it up. But I tweeted it too. We can kind of show this after. There was only, I think, 1 or 2 games. There was only 2 games all year where he had more than 2 turnover-worthy plays in a game. So he's not going to be a guy that's going to turn the ball over a ton.
Right.
And we can kind of show this after.
This one Nico, frustrating too, but I think that's also where
Nico slips on this route.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. That's where he slips. So
yeah, I think this probably would have been a completion if he didn't slip. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, Nico does slip at the top of this route though, because yeah.
Right.
Now it would have been a completion, but the problem is either way that Nico runs his route too short because even if this is a completion, it's 4th and 2. He's not getting a first down.
I just don't like that he drifted a little bit to the sideline as well, and so I feel like he's not like you as a receiver. There are ways for you to create leverage and to where you can maybe attack them and then you break out. He's not attacking. He's He's running a fade. And then he runs it out. And so there's really no room for him or for really Stroud to make a true throw here. But at the end of the day, you're running dagger, and let's see how much time you have because
Higgins, he could have had Higgins if he holds
that ball goes to Higgins. And if you make the read properly when you run dagger like that, then you should know that you're going to have the dig. And you do have the dig. So the fact that he forced that to Nico Collins is another reason why if Nico Collins is out, maybe Stroud progresses and says, oh, yeah, I have to dig. It's cover 1. So automatic trigger to the dig.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I didn't think that this was not one of Nico Collins' best games that I've seen him play. There were a couple like routes that he ran a little. Really, the one that he got concussed was not a very good. He probably should have caught that ball. And then like we talked about, it just wasn't the most clean game from Nico like we certain games, but and like I said, it didn't end up mattering. And mistakes happen for everybody. Like I said, it's not like I'm not going to be overly critical about a bad game for a player, but it wasn't the cleanest game for him, for his standards. And some of that credit goes to Joey Porter Jr. He's played a good game. He's played a good season. For Pittsburgh. So he's developed into a good player. And then this is what you talk about. Like this is the pocket movement that you want to see. And this is one of Stroud's best downfield throws of the season. Actually, This was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of time to really amp up the strength or the throw power, if you will. So the fact that he is able to lead him, put it in stride, and on the second hand, the fact that was after his big mistake with his footwork, where he didn't generate enough power, it actually gives us more confidence about how he's going to play against the Patriots too.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I will always give Stroud credit for is, and I've talked about this. I talked about this with my dad. I talk about this with. He's very good at not compounding mistakes.
Yeah,
he doesn't usually make the same mistake in a game twice. If he does something, he's usually good about cleaning stuff up. And we kind of talked about that last year, right? He struggled with footwork and being late on certain things, and then he gets to the playoffs and he cleaned it up, right? So he's not usually going to be a guy that struggles with that kind of stuff, multiple games in a row or multiple plays in a row. He's very good at flushing things and just moving on, which you can't say about every quarterback.
And then I really like that throw. I think that Higgins definitely kind of a rookie mistake of not using your body, because certainly that's exactly what you're supposed to do from Stroud.
Yeah.
But when you're 6'4", that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to use your length. And he just kind of hugs the defensive back for a little bit too long.
Yeah, I mean that's something that Stroud actually kind of talked about this, which was kind of interesting. He's very like in press conferences. He's not usually a guy that goes very in depth when he talks a lot of the time, but he kind of did with Higgins, where he talked about like the one thing that Higgins like, he doesn't need to make all these moves to try to sell the DBs and like you said, try to push off. Like just play
Yeah.
big, just go out and
Yeah.
make a play. He essentially said that you're playing against the defensive ends and the pass rush as much as you're playing against the DBs. Like just go make a play. You don't have to make all these moves and try to be all fancy. You're 6'4", you're a big dude. Go make a play on the football. And this is a good example of that.
Now I
Like you
will
said, I could
say, yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think you can make that throw to Hutchinson there. I just feel like
Yeah, I agree.
we're
Yeah,
getting these man coverage reads, and Stroud's looking to the sideline. But when you have a man coverage read and you don't have somebody hovering over the middle of the field, that's when you want to throw it in between the hashes. And he just didn't do that in this game. And so if that's something that they can
yeah,
look at on tape as well, because they're getting a lot of man coverage from the Steelers, and they're separating. Hutchinson is separating its man coverage. We didn't think we were going to be saying that last year, but here we are now,
no.
and he's not getting the ball.
Yeah, which is kind of bizarre because the Texans and Stroud are usually targeting the in-breaking routes. They target the in-break some of the most in the NFL. So maybe it was a thing of like we're going to try to attack the sidelines in this game. Like, see, I don't know because that's not
Against Joey
usually what the
Porter
Texans
Jr. though,
do.
I don't love that because he has length to defend the perimeter, as where I don't know who their nickel is, and I don't know if their linebackers can cover, and so it's just a little
I would
disappointing.
agree. I mean, I think the Texans are one of the teams like they probably should attack the middle of the field the most, especially against Pittsburgh. I don't think Patrick Queen's very good in coverage. I don't think the safeties are like good in coverage. So
Yeah.
the Texans probably should have done this a little bit more, and I think they did this maybe a little bit more on non-third downs. I mean, this is one where you talk about just separating against man coverage and
Yeah.
Targeting. But again, you have Hutchinson on the dig, and like you said, maybe in certain situations, maybe he locks on Nico, he's locking on to Higgins in that situation. And like I said, I don't mind the decision to go to Higgins in that spot. You kind of have a one-on-one with him down the sideline, and you put it in a good spot. So, but I would expect to target a little bit more of the in-breaking stuff against New England, especially with Christian Gonzalez likely playing. So, probably try to stay away from Gonzalez if you can. And then the final one, you get a run play to Chubb. I mean, 3rd and 3, you run for 9 yards. I don't remember the last time the Texans did that.
Exactly.
At any point in the game.
The Steelers' defensive alignment is a little strange there. It almost looks like they're giving it to them, but the Texans' offensive line absolutely dominated. You see the duo starting with Ingram and I believe Trent Brown. They're going to duo, kind of just dominated 94 there, and that's really
yeah. I mean, the offensive line played about as well as you could ask for them to play in this game. Even though I know their pressure rate was like 45%. Like I said, it was just a weird game because a lot of those are on plays where there was a fumble. It just was a bizarre game. Not really too much I can be super upset about from them in this game with how they ran the ball. We can watch some of these fumbles too and just kind of see what happened.
Yeah.
This is a flea flicker. Like I said, I don't really.
I think you have Higgins actually for a touchdown. We got to look at the timing in the pocket, though, of course. Yeah, he definitely can't make the throw, but you just want to hold on to the ball at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing is maybe you kind of can take away from this game. In certain situations, just take the sack. Like just take the negative play and move on.
You have such a good defense. Like that's the difference between the Townsend punting it to the 5 to 10 yard line, or them getting the ball at literally the 48.
Or Townsend punts at 20 yards again.
Right. I mean, who cares if he punts at 20 yards? It's much better than the 40
for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's just no time to really throw this football. This is probably the least of Stroud turnover that really mattered to me. I don't really care about that one so much.
Agree.
This one, I forget this one. This was. Did he jump on this one or? Oh no! I mean, just I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really know what that one
Thankfully, he
was.
threw that one away, but I'm trying to figure out what happened there. Oh, geez. It looks like he may have just straight up fumbled that.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Yeah, I think he just went through his hands. And then
Which you don't normally see. That is
no, it was weird.
something really weird. Yeah.
I almost wonder, and Andrews had some of the issues snapping the ball too. Again, this one, I just kind of wonder, like I said, the field was kind of slick. Like I wonder if the ball was just like it's a bizarre
True, the ball,
why are we
yeah.
dropping the football so much? And then Andrews, I will say on some of these plays, he was firing the ball back there. It's like to take a little bit off the football, but I don't really understand. Like, I mean, this one's
That's
low.
a little bit low.
Yeah, but still, like you got to just come on.
Yeah,
man.
I don't know why. See, that's a bad turnover by the quarterback because that's everyone else in the league and college or whatever. Just they go down.
Yeah, just jump on the ball, man.
But then that's a play where you just gotta like laugh and call him a goofball because he looks so, frankly, stupid doing that, and it's just breaking the rules of what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, just jump on the football there.
Yeah.
We've discussed it. We've talked about it. Just in certain situations, just take your negative play. It's okay. It's okay. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
And this, I gotta say, this is about all you could ask for the quarterback to do here with a guard right in his grill. You give your guy a shot down the field. Again, this is one where he bobbles the snap. I don't know, like they just were not. It was just not a clean operation from that group. I don't really know why.
Yeah, the fact that he can make that throw under pressure is pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, and that's why, like, whenever the season's over, hopefully after a Super Bowl, obviously, but, whenever the season ends, we're going to have the discussion of, like, what should you do with Stroud? Like, what should he get paid? At the end of the day, like, there are goofy mistakes he makes. He's not a perfect quarterback. I'd say he's at the good tier, not, like, the great tier currently. Yeah. And that's okay. But there's too much good that he does that outweighs the bad, especially this year. There's been a lot of good that he's done this year that outweighs the bad of, like, I don't know what he's going to get money-wise, but he's definitely going to be the quarterback here. I don't know what the debate of, like, we should, move on. That's not going to happen.
He's also in the category of a quarterback that makes the wow throws. There's not that many quarterbacks that simply make the wow throws, honestly, every week. And this can mean – and this is another thing. That's from the pocket and outside the pocket too. And, I'm thinking about other quarterbacks that have struggled recently that got paid, like Tua – not playing as well. I mean,
Kyler
Murray, but I think Stroud simply wows you a little bit more and does a little bit of everything, and is a good leader, in my opinion, off the field. And his mistakes are always correctable.
Yeah. Again, I've kind of talked about it. Like, I think what Stroud has done is very similar to, like, Lawrence and Love and those kind of guys.
Yeah.
He's not perfect. He makes mistakes. Like, the performance has not always been amazing, but he's done enough good to, justify. Okay, he's going to be the quarterback.
For sure. I would agree he's in the category of Jordan Love where you pay him what Jordan Love got, or I don't know if he's been paid or whatever. But
him and Trevor are both making around $55 a year.
Yeah, so I would just do that.
Again, I think that's what Stroud's probably going to get, and I'm cool with that. I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah, he's not going to be paid in the top 5, and that's totally fine. He shouldn't be. It'd be weird if he did by any team, frankly.
Yeah.
So I'd feel like Houston.
I think Lawrence and Love are both actually currently top 5. That's probably not going to stay that way.
Right. It won't stay.
Yeah, so true. By the time the contract actually kicks in, he won't be paid in the top 5. But we do have to remember the tough thing with Stroud is his rookie year set the bar so high for himself that it's almost like whatever he does now, it's not going to meet the expectation.
He's good.
He's probably he's not going to be like an MVP type quarterback, and that's okay. There's very few quarterbacks that are. But he can absolutely be a Dak or a Trevor, like, in that kind of guys that, you could absolutely go win with them. And there's certain things that he has to get better at. But even this year, you've seen, he's cut down on the sacks. He's cut down on the turnovers. He's, been better outside. I'd say inside the pocket, especially. He's been better dealing with pressure. He's been better against the blitz. Like there's a lot of improvement this season for a 23-year-old quarterback. So it's not, like I said, it's not perfect. And, this is a play where, again, it's not perfect. I still think Nico probably should have brought this one in.
But my thing is like, so I get that he's tall, but if he's a regular receiver, why would you ever throw it that high when he's that wide open?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and then I also agree with what you're saying, like point blank period, he was a top 3, top 5 quarterback in his rookie season. And so it's just a matter of literal fact that he is technically maybe regressing in that area. But that's okay because he just had a phenomenal season. And that happens to other quarterbacks too.
Yeah, I mean, you go look at, and a lot of it has to do with situation and, who you're playing, who your coordinator is, who you're playing around. I mean, and like we've, as Texans fans, I know we joke about Trevor Lawrence, but Trevor Lawrence just had an awesome season, and he was bad for two back-to-back seasons. Like he did not play either of these the 2 previous seasons. It has so much to do with right, and even this year he didn't play well until like week 8 when we understand the offense a little bit better and we add Jacoby Myers, and he played like an MVP the rest of the season. That's just kind of how it goes. Like these guys that are inconsistent, that's pretty normal for young quarterbacks. They're not going to be perfect all the time.
Very
and Trevor
situational.
Trevor would have one game where he would look like an amazing quarterback, and in the next game he'd look awful. Like it was just how he would be.
Yeah.
And Trevor is as talented as any quarterback in the NFL, I think, or close to it. I mean, that guy, he's ridiculously talented. And so you don't let those guys go. You build around them. And really the biggest thing for Stroud is like if they can improve the run game, and they can improve the offensive line in the offseason. And, even in this game, like I said, the turnovers were bizarre, but you saw when he was kept clean and they were in good down and distance, how good he can play.
Yeah.
Because he played awesome in this game outside of the turnovers. Because the Texans were in good down and distance and the offensive line played pretty well. So what he is at the end of the day. He's a good quarterback.
Yeah, agreed.
And then is there any other plays that we want to highlight? I mean, Higgins got involved here right out of half, which was nice to see. They did a good job getting him. I want to say, were any of these like highlight worthy? I don't remember, honestly. I was.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, just kind of. I can't really think of anything specific, but I mean, yeah, if you look at his stats, I mean, he played.
This was a nice throw too. Actually, this is harder. That's not the easiest.
Exactly,
throw,
but he made it look really easy, and that's what you want to see. Yeah. So I'll take plays like that all day because you want the advantage of maybe you don't go to his preferred side. You go to the make him roll to the left and just make throws like that. And I'll say the same thing as I said last time. It helps you open up the playbook. And for a team that showed that they can run the ball and get pushed, I'm not saying the Steelers have the best interior defensive line of all time, but I don't think they have a bad interior defensive line.
I'm
very proud of how they played.
And then here we can watch third down defense as well because this was dominant. This was pure domination third down by the Texans defense. It's your 3rd and 7. This is the first third down of the game. I don't remember.
Overload on the right side. And you got Toto creeping down to the A gap. Then he goes into man coverage. And this time you just got cover 1. Cover 1 with an overhang in the middle of the field. And that's, again, another benefit of, I guess, rushing 4 is you get someone in the middle of the field that can overhang, someone up top that can hang over there too. And you have guys that can easily play in man coverage all day long.
Yep. I would say I've been critical of Henry Toto, but I will give him credit. I thought he played pretty well in this game. I thought this was one of his better games of the season, and maybe of his career. He was all over the field. He played pretty well in coverage. Give him his credit. He played well this game. But I mean, where are you going with this football? There's nowhere to go. Nowhere to go with the ball.
Yeah, and I would say Kenneth Gainwell is one of the better receiving backs in the league, and so maybe he took pride in that assignment, and he was just reading and reacting, and that's something that Henry Toto has struggled with, and sometimes he does play too fast, but he looks like a nickel out there in coverage.
Yeah, so. I know. Yeah, like I said, he played well in this game.
You see those
good on him, man.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, this is another one where, Pittsburgh drove the ball a little bit. I was frustrated this drive because Pittsburgh only had like 2 good plays, but they were already in field goal range when they probably shouldn't have been because Tommy Townsend punted the ball 22 yards.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the defense holds up. I mean, it's nothing all that crazy, but just
Right.
like you said, reading and reacting. You know where the down and distance.
Exactly. The most important part there is that they knew where the sticks were. They're not going to let anything go past the sticks, but you can certainly have your 4 to 7, 8 yards, but that's okay because you know you're defending. And then same here, they're defending the sticks and they're swarming. So there's areas that you will technically leave open, but you're also going to always protect where the sticks are. I would say this also, we're seeing, longer third downs too. And so that's one thing the Texans have obviously improved at this year is that they're forcing third and longs. They're not, there were a lot of 3rd and 3s last year, it felt like. This year, it feels like they're eating teams alive on 1st and 2nd down, too, because they're swarming more consistently, frankly. Every yard matters.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And then this, I think this, 3rd and 14. So, I mean, you're getting them in very long distances here. And it's because, like you said, the run game, I mean, in this game, I don't know if, granted, there was a lot of guys on the defense that you could have said were playing, at a high level. I don't think anybody on the field looked better than Jalen Petrie. Like, he played the best game.
He was everywhere. It was
player
awesome.
on the field on this day. He was unbelievable. Like, he was everywhere that I mean, I don't think there was a guy that, like I said, he was the best player on the field at every point in this game. Like, he just was. I mean, he's just incredible, man. He should have been an All-Pro. I don't understand how Cooper DeJean made it over him. I really don't.
Yeah, because you don't. I mean, I don't. I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't watch enough Eagles, but I was gonna say if you were watching football for the first time on Monday, you probably would have thought Jalen Petrie was the best player in the entire league because he was everywhere. It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I usually, I'd be critical of To'oTo'o, but I'm telling you, the field was slick because people were slipping nonstop. And so he slips here. I don't really blame him too much on this. He wasn't the only guy doing this.
Well, so. Yeah, the fact that he face planted, I agree. It's definitely the field because he slipped twice. That would have been pretty bad if it wasn't.
And then Texans' first goal to go stop from their starting defense all season, actually, which is pretty insane.
That is a wild snap. We'll say
this sack was pretty funny because, I mean, like there's not really all that much pressure. Rodgers just falls over the tackle.
Yes.
Now, I mean, Rankins like pushes him into, I guess, so he gets credit for the sack, but it was pretty funny.
I think that's Stingley on the kind of other side. But I really like the leverage that he's playing with there. You can see that he gets tight and then he loosens up and then he's ready to break on the ball. So you can, not only kind of cover him up, but you can also get a pick with leverage like that too. So that's just kind of why he's one of the more technically sound players at any position in the league.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
is it To'oTo'o? I mean, I think that's To'oTo'o over there on the other side.
Yeah.
He's sinking his hips and he is really transitioning well. Look at that.
Yeah, I mean, he played that as well as you could.
He could play.
And again, we can do this about every play. If you're Aaron Rodgers, where are you going with the football? I mean,
nowhere.
You can try to get it in the back corner to Calvin Austin. That's a tough throw, though. Like that's not an easy throw to make. You got Kalen Bullock coming across and Jalen Petrie under him. Like that, you got to put that in a really good spot if you want to try. I mean, because Jalen Petrie plays this pretty well, I'd say.
I think Bullock sees it, but he also slips too. So that would have been a pick. Even though he slipped, I think that would have been an interception as well. And so that's phenomenal cover.
Rodgers, it looks like he's about to throw it at one point right here.
That would have been an interception.
And then he kind of pulls it. So I mean, there's just nowhere to go with the football. And this was, I'll take blame for this. This was like the one play of the whole game that I recorded on my phone, and they gave first third down conversion. So I'll take the blame on this one, guys.
It looks like a little bit of miscommunication. That's really just about it. I think I'll credit play design there too. I mean, that is dagger, and it does hold Bullock, and there's really nothing you can do about that because he's most likely going to run into the other Steelers wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, it's good play design happens.
It does make you
Um,
wonder about Stingley's assignment potentially.
yeah,
Knowing Petrie is locked in on the number 2 and knowing that Alshire is running the pole.
it looks
Also,
like he's playing to Bullock that he's gonna
yeah,
take first.
he does want to. He's close. I will give Stingley credit. That
Yeah,
is a good call. However, there is just no space for Bullock to
yeah,
get the time. That's an anticipatory throw too. So if a quarterback did wait a little bit longer,
yeah.
Bullock
Bullock
is
made
going to
it
knock
down
that
there.
ball down. So really credit to Aaron Rodgers, frankly.
Oh yeah, you got the deep ball. This
And
was
then
good
here
coverage.
we probably can throw the dig again with some anticipation, but when the game's going how it goes, sometimes you just throw the ball downfield. This is the third quarter too, so I can't blame Rodgers for wanting to throw it downfield. Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
maybe not the dig because he took so many steps back in his drop.
Yeah, it'd be a
And
tough throw because Aziz could get back there too.
also, I guess whoever the other defensive back is, I'm at the 45. So that would be what you would just call good zone shell, a good zone
Jalen
shell.
Reed.
There's not a window unless DK somehow settles, but Rodgers is also drifting back. And so when you have a long developing play like that, you can run zone coverages like that too, to where someone's going to trigger on the ball when it enters their zone. And so I'm totally fine with the way they space their zones there. And then there, it's just another lockdown. That's a coverage sack. I mean, obviously, a play was made on the defensive line.
Yeah, but
Daniil
again,
Hunter won at the point of attack, but also no one's open. So
yeah. I mean, where are you going with the football?
nowhere.
I actually think he's loading up to throw the deep ball, which
He is. He's doing his drift back thing again. He's gonna throw it to the left, but also that could be a pick. And so it's just kind of funny to see how dominant. That's also a great transition by Bullock too. You see the speed that he has just when he turns his hips. You know he's going to reach that route, and he takes a great angle with just using his peripherals too. He's in the middle of the field just about. So, Kalen Bullock has just been playing super well lately.
Oh yeah, he's been awesome since the bye. He's been incredible.
Yeah.
There we go.
Unbelievable.
Man, I was going crazy at this point, man. I was losing my mind.
Was there a good enough crowd that you could hear other cheers?
Yeah, there was. Okay, so there was a Texans fan right in front of us, which was cool. And then there was a decent amount of Texans fans in the lower section, like right in front of us.
Okay.
Because we were like 18 rows into the section, but like in front of us, because we were kind of near the Texans bench, so like we're like over in this area.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was enough where people were definitely excited. I'd say.
Nice.
Steelers fans behind us were not excited. I can tell you that much. But we were celebrating, and I think Gavin was like, "Oh, we're gonna play New England," and the fans behind us were like, "It's not over! It's not over!"
That's funny.
That was pretty funny. But again, if you're Aaron Rodgers, where are you going with the? I mean, I guess you throw the dig, but you don't even have time to throw the dig. Like you have no time to you don't where are you going with the ball?
Exactly.
Again, I think he's loading up to throw the deep ball.
He is. And then also Bullock once again is all over that too, and so it's just
I don't think that's getting complete. Like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Aaron Rodgers could have done in this game. Like, there's nowhere to go with the football. He can't move. There was just like the talk of like that they were gonna put up points was always ridiculous. That was never gonna happen.
The things I watched pregame or the days leading up talking about even 20 points, 24, 27 to score by the Steelers, predicted to win too. I just could not believe it, frankly.
It was a hell of a catch by Fryer.
And then also, of course, that was their second conversion. I'm pretty sure their second conversion was they're doing the same coverage where they do have the zone for the dig, and the ball somehow is glued to Fryer's hands. they did also get us for too many men on the field.
Yeah.
So that could play a factor in just overall preparedness of that play.
Yeah, and then this play, this had to be the Texans' most. I just feel like it has to be the most batted balls we've had in a game this season because we batted a lot of balls in this game.
Yeah,
they were getting their hands up and making plays. Nico Autry, man, like every
that's the
time
thing
he's healthy, whenever he's healthy, man, he's so good for this team. He's been so good when he's on the field.
And they're gonna they're gonna let him loose this week against New England. The more time he gets to be healthy, he doesn't seem to be going through an injury. So, whew.
Yeah, and then again, obviously the game at this point is pretty out of reach, but
exactly nowhere to go. Literally,
where are you throwing the ball?
Single play.
Where are you throwing the ball? And that's what makes it so impressive. Like teams know what defense the Texans are playing. And they still can't get players open. You literally know what you're playing again. You could on Madden. Okay, I see cover one. I'm gonna call a play that beats cover one. Like you can literally call the game like that, and it doesn't matter because the Texans defense is playing so well.
Incredible.
All right, so I mean that's your third down defense.
Just absolutely dominant.
They pulled guys.
Like you said, they had a short field on a drive where they got a field goal. And then I don't know if I even remember the other drive they got a field goal on, but didn't seem
it was that one and then the one where Stroud fumbled.
Yeah, so
two short fields.
Yeah, two short fields. Look, the Texans defense has not really played a bad game all year because the game they allowed the most points in was when they had a short field and the other team's defense scored a touchdown.
I'd say the worst game that they played all season was against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, that's very true. They did kind of let them run the ball a little bit too much. That was upsetting.
Yeah.
That they let the Buccaneers run the ball, and then, obviously they had an opportunity to close it out against Denver, and they didn't do that, which was disappointing, but not to say they played a bad game, but just some moments.
And, this is what I was kind of talking about, and we can kind of go through it a little bit more, but there's been very few games where Stroud's had a lot of turnover-worthy plays. Seattle was one. Seattle was bad. We talked about Seattle. In this game, at least two of these are fumbles, and then, I guess some of these but again, if the turnovers just can't happen, but the rest of the game was really good. That's
very, and honestly, you don't usually see that. Frankly, I feel like the number is really, really low, and that's exciting.
Yeah, and you can kind of if you want to look at this, so the two games where he had a lot of turnovers was this game and week 7. So you look at this game, your turnover-worthy play percentage was 10 essentially, which is really high, right? Like that's very, very high. But then the rest of the season is let's
do all, and then
it does all. The only thing I don't like when it does all is because it does preseason, so I have to unselect preseason. But so unselect this and then you're looking at just to make sure it loads it properly. But 1.5%, which is the third best.
Yeah, see, there you go.
So he's not turning the ball over outside of 2 games. And again, and in these games, you have a 13.2 pressure to sack. Like you're not taking sacks. 18 touchdowns, 7 turnovers is pretty good. Like that's not bad at all. And then, like I said, if you want to go to the Pittsburgh game itself, the difference in these grades here are pretty big.
Right. That's what they did want to knock him on it out of college for sure. But at the same time, there's ways to work around that.
Yeah. And kind of what we discussed was, oh my God, I didn't even see this. But it was unbelievable throwing the ball downfield. But again, the Texans are really good throwing the ball in the middle of the field, which is kind of something we've talked about. They had 2 incompletions throwing the ball in the middle of the field the whole game. I guess 3 if you count the deep ball as well. Although apparently he got a big time throw for the null throw, which I'm good with. I think that's correct. I agree with that, but it wasn't completed, obviously. But you just look at the numbers, and I think this is kind of skewed because again, you fumbled 4 times or 3 times or whatever it was on these plays, and then I guess that they counted the INT being under pressure, which I don't really agree with, but I guess maybe you were flushed in that situation. So, but yeah, I mean, again, if you can be kept clean and not have the fumbles, it was awesome. It was an unbelievable performance for him. So, just clean that stuff up, and I think we'll be looking pretty good here. And then if you want to look at the defense, I mean,
Yeah.
edges dominated per usual. You go look at the catches allowed. I mean, Aziz gave up 6, which is probably one of the most that he's given up all
Because
season.
you're a middle linebacker.
Secondary. Aziz didn't give up a catch. Lassiter gave up 1 for -2 yards. Kalen gave up 1 for 14, which again, the 1 for 14 is the one where there's not really much he can do.
Literally,
it's a good play ball. And then Bullock got the INT, obviously.
Mhm.
Reed gave up 1, and then that's your secondary. So Petrie gave up 4 for 27 yards, and then he had 6 run stops, which is ridiculous for a DB. That doesn't really happen. 6 run stops. I wonder if that's the most he's had in his career. I'm checking this now. Actually, it might be.
It feels like a lot for a nickel.
6
That's
is
a pretty
a ton.
crazy amount.
So 5 was the most he had last year. 2023 probably didn't have it because he's playing deep safety. Yeah, 3.
Yeah.
In 2020, he may have had it in 2022. 5. So yes, that's the most he's had the entire. And it felt like that. He felt like he was everywhere in this game.
Yes.
He was all over the place. Just an unbelievable game for him. Awesome to see. Love the guy. One of the most likable guys on the Texans, I'd say, just from the way he plays as well. So just awesome to see him play as well as he did. And if you want to go to the run blocking, Ed Ingram, Blake Fisher, and this is why we talked about Christian Kirk. This is why he plays. Obviously, the receiving was awesome, but the fact that he can run block is so important. That's why he plays. And so, is he probably going to be back next season? I would say, probably. Sure. I think he plays.
He locked that in last night.
I think he'll be back, and I don't think he'll cost a ton. So I think the receiver room next year, the 6 guys, assuming Tank is back, I think is set. And that's a really good receiver room. But you just kind of look at some of the other stuff, and obviously Ed Ingram, highest rated guard of the wild card weekend, actually.
There you go.
Just playing at a super high level. We kind of talked about, like we said, we talked about it. There was a stretch where his pass blocking was brutal. 0.0 is pretty crazy for a game where you played every snap. So, but like I said, really since then, pass blocking has been pretty good. Just a good development, man. I kind of was talking about this the other day, Laken Tomlinson and some of the other moves that they made in the offseason, there was no vision there. It just was never going to work out.
Right.
But Ed Ingram, even when the move happened, you could see a vision. You could see what you wanted from him. We expected him to be this guy that could just, worst case, he's just a high-end run blocker, and you can play him as an extra lineman or something like that. Best case is that he develops into a decent pass blocker, and you have a really good guard. And he traded a 6th-round pick for him. So he's got to be a priority this offseason of getting a contract done with him because he should be the right guard next season as well. And, Blake Fisher, like you said, I'm not super confident that Blake Fisher is a great tackle, but
I agree.
Good. So, and then Jaden Higgins, Jaden Higgins is going to have to step up, and we can kind of talk about Jaden Higgins a little bit. There's the 2 games that actually that'll be something. Let's pull this up. The 2 games that Nico Collins hasn't played. Look at the receiver numbers for the Texans. That could be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So week 18 and then week 8, Nico Collins did not play, and so there you go. Jalen Knoll is up there. But you look at the yardage for the Texans offense. Hutchinson had 100, and I guess take that out because Hutchinson led the team in receiving yards. Christian Kirk had -3 yards, so hopefully that's a little bit better.
Probably won't happen.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen. But again, Jaden Higgins, he had 2 touchdowns from him, 57 yards. I think he could have more yards than that, but Jalen Knoll got in the game a little bit. If you want to look at the snap count, because that could be kind of interesting as well, of who played the most. Let's see, is there a total snap count, or is it just? This is just straight up passing down. So Hutchinson and Higgins played the most, and then these guys kind of split. Barrios will be inactive. These 2 guys obviously won't play. So it'll probably be these 4, and then maybe I guess Justin Watson's also concussed. So I don't know who the 5th receiver is going to be. Maybe
it could be Braxton Berrios.
It actually could. There you go. It could be Braxton Berrios. It could also just lean more into the jumbo packages and 12 personnel now that Kate Stover's healthy. So I guess we'll see. Probably will be an interesting game for that. But like I said, I expect Christian Kirk to have more yards than -3 in this
For sure.
game. If he has -3 yards in this next game, I'm not feeling very confident. But yeah, I mean, I'm not overly concerned about the receiver room without Nico Collins. I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, I think it'll make for an interesting game plan and post game analysis as well. Just because, like, at the end of the day, like, there have been a lot of moments where he does force the ball to Nico Collins. It happened a lot last year, and we even saw it in the Steelers game, kind of, if you will, on a couple plays. And so I think it'd be a good thing. Not saying I want the Texans to face a bigger challenge or anything like that. I think that
Yeah.
it's just always positives to spreading the ball around more. And if it takes Nico Collins to be out, you have that and the combination of a good run game, and you can still take shots downfield because you do have explosive players. You saw Kirk separate against man coverage. Noel gets over the top. Higgins can box out or run really nice in breaking routes too, just like Nico Collins. So I don't know. I have a good feeling the Texans are going to win this game, and would frankly, because of how good the defense is playing, would be disappointed if they didn't win this game, unless we see just a clear offensive struggle and makes you really think about the offseason.
Yeah, and we can kind of like I know the schedule thing with New England's kind of overrun. I think it's overplayed in the whole Drake May talk, but as a team, I don't think it's overplayed. I think Drake May is awesome. Don't get me wrong when I say this. I think if I had a vote, I'd vote Drake May for MVP. I think he is the most valuable player.
I think he defines what MVP is because the Rams have a good roster and stuff like that. And so that would really make Drake May the MVP. Just like how you could have said C.J. Stroud was the MVP his rookie year.
Yeah. No, agreed. And but you go look at them. They've played two teams in the top half of an EPA per pass in the last this whole season, which is Buffalo, and they did play Buffalo twice. But then I can read this out because I was shocked when I read through these numbers. I knew the schedule was bad, but they played in EPA per pass. They played 32, 31, 30 twice, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22 twice, 21, 20, and 18 outside of Buffalo. They did not play another team in the top half in EPA per pass.
Jeez.
And also, I want to say, I looked at it last night. They were 23rd in the NFL in yards before contact per attempt on defense.
Yeah.
But the run defense in EPA per rush is at the top of the league because they played bad offenses with bad running backs and bad teams. Their run defense is pretty good, but it's also not anything like people. I've seen people say it's the best in the league when it's healthy. I'm like, no, it's not.
Probably not. Yeah.
So their interior defensive line is good. They're not a bad team. Don't get me wrong. But you look at it on paper, even without Nico Collins, the better roster is the Texans. They're the better team on paper.
They're the better team, without a doubt. I understand the record thing, them having home field advantage or whatever, but there's no reason to think that, the Patriots are just going to beat the Texans. That's a really wild take. And for example, if I was a Patriots fan, I would be very, very concerned. I'd be like, I wouldn't want to play the fucking Texans. No way.
No
way. From what we just watched, it seems like the offense is clicking and the quarterback made a few mistakes, and their defense is as good as the NFL has seen in years.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing we can talk about with C.J. Stroud, like, he throw the football as well as he did last game? Maybe not, right? He may not be on as target. It may not be on target as much, and that kind of goes from game to game. But I can guarantee you, he won't put the ball on the ground 5 times and throw a red zone.
Exactly.
I can guarantee that. And the Texans won 30-6. They won 30-6, and Stroud put the ball on the ground 5 times and threw a pick. Like, that's ridiculous when you think about it. And I'm not saying that Pittsburgh. I knew Pittsburgh wasn't a great team on paper. I also don't think New England's a great team on paper, though. I think you could make the like. They're pretty close on paper. I think the difference is Drake May is much better than Aaron Rodgers at this point. But and I think you look at coaching. I think the Texans probably have the better coaching staff. I think D'Amico's better than Mike Vrabel, Nick Haley, and Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels might be better. I'm a Josh
I guess that's his understudy.
I think he's a good play caller, Josh McDaniels. But I think Nick Haley's also a pretty good play caller as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think the Texans, this is a game even without Nico Collins, I think they should win. Not saying they will, because you never know
They
what can
should.
happen.
I agree. They should.
But I think it's a game they should win.
Yeah.
I mean, they're rolling right now. We just saw the Patriots offense look really bad against a Chargers defense
Right.
who
The
I've
Texans kind
here.
of did good things against.
Yeah, the Chargers defense is awesome though. I've given them their
Yes.
credit. Jesse Minter is really creative. But you just watch that offensive line and you watch, you just look at it on paper, and I'm looking at the Patriots offense, like they have very little talent outside of the quarterback. Stephon Diggs is solid. He's a good receiver, but he's not better than, he's not a top 20 guy in the NFL anymore. And then their offensive line is kind of rough still. It's a very inexperienced group. It's not a group that has, been there very long. And when they've played against good defenses, it's not gone all that well for them. So I think the Texans should be able to win this game. I think the offense will play. If the offense could play like they did against Pittsburgh and cut down the turnovers, they'll win the game by double digits, I would think. I like they played it unbelievable in that game. If they can run the ball anywhere near close to how they did against Pittsburgh, they're going to win. And I think Stroud, I think Stroud will play better than he did when it comes to turnovers. I think the Texans are going to win this game. That's my Texans prediction.
Yeah, I kind of stay away from predictions, but it just kind of feels like they're going to win this game.
Yeah, I agree. And then maybe we get a home game against Buffalo. That'd be sweet. Man. AFC Championship game at home. That'd be awesome. But yeah, I mean, anything else we want to add about either of these games? I think
that's it. I mean, watching the defense just gets me ready. I'm really ready to see the Texans play the Patriots.
Yep. No, I agree. Obviously, wish Nico Collins was playing, but
yeah,
I think the Texans can do this, man, even without him. So,
me too.
Lots to like from this game. Obviously, hopefully, it carries over to New England. We appreciate all support. Make sure y'all like, subscribe. Stay tuned for next week. Hopefully, we're talking about AFC Championship next week and not off-season stuff.
Yeah.